Hello, fellow professionals. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's been a while on this channel, and today we'll be diving into a very crucial topic and interesting one for that matter. It's going to be a skill that is going to be useful for every professional in the construction industry. So, in this video, I break down one of the most powerful yet underutilized tools in Microsoft Excel. That is GoSeek in Microsoft Excel. GoSeek. And then I've been able to show how professionals in construction industry can use it to make faster, smarter, and more accurate decisions. As a quantity surveyor, a construction operation manager, as a project manager, as an engineer, or even as a construction cost analyst, you often work with budgets, estimates, and financial targets. So instead of manually guessing or recalculating values, GoSeek allows you to reverse calculate unknown inputs to achieve a desired outcome. In this practical tutorial, you will learn how to use GoSeek to solve construction costs and budgeting problems, determine the required rate, costs, and quantity to meet a project target, to apply Excel what-if analysis in real-life construction scenarios, and to improve speed and accuracy in project financial planning and estimation. Now, this is not an Excel tutorial per se. It is a practical application of data-driven decision making in construction management. If you are involved in construction planning, estimating, and cost control, this video will help you work smarter and more efficiently. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more construction focused Excel, quantity surveying software, and project management software tutorials. Now, let's dive into it. Okay, so I'll be using this simple bill of quantity, just an extract from a bill of quantity for civil works to demonstrate the working principle of GoSeek. Now, the assumption is that you as a contractor or maybe even as a consultant, you have been, presented with this bill that has a contract sum of 45.7 million, right? And then now I'll be using, an example of, say, this is a contractor presenting this bill of quantity to his client or to the consultant, from the client. Yeah. So now you will understand that in most cases, especially when there's this relationship that that is already existing between the client and the contractor, that there will always be some kind of negotiations. And if such negotiation comes in, there's a possibility that there's going to be a reduction in this price, right? Now, if there's going to be a reduction, let's say after a bit of negotiation, then there's 20% deduction from this contract sum. Now, what it means is that 80% of this contract sum is what is left for the execution of the project. Now, if we do 80% of these, our initial contract sum, so 80%, multiplied by these are contract sum, you're going to get a value. Okay, let me do a formatting of this. Now, so we have 36.6 million naira as the new contract sum. Now, you remember that, for every contractor who is going into any kind of project, that the sole aim or the goal is for profit making. Now, he is going to be charging for profit and overhead. And if we charge profit and overhead, let's say he's going to be leaving another 20% for his company, for overhead and profit. So if we do another 20%, remove another 20%, because at this point, this is our contract sum, right? Now, if we do another 20% reduction from this our contract sum, new contract sum, then we're going to have, equals to 80%, 80% multiplied by our new contract sum, and then we're going to have um, 29 million naira, right? So let me again format this to this. Yeah. Now, the contract sum or the amount which we'll be going to side with is this amount at this point, and but if you check this bill of quantities, if you check this rate, you would know, or you will discover that this rate is actually for this contract sum. In fact, this rate is not for this amount and it's not for this amount. Now, if we want to actually use 29.2 million naira for the execution of this project, now what do we do? That is when goal seek analysis comes in. Now, let me demonstrate to us how we can achieve that, because we need a rate. Say, for example, see this external works. Now, we need to allocate another rate which is different from this one that amounted to 45.7 million naira, to this item of work, so that we'll be able to now see what the practical case on site is going to be. Now, for us to do that, I am going to be, clicking on this particular column and then inserting another two columns in here. Now, I will call this the working rate, and then I'll call this particular column working amount. Now, you remember that if I'm say 100% of any amount is still that amount, right? So now one is the same thing as 100% in this case. So I'm going to put one on this cell J2, right? And then I'm going to use this one to multiply every other rate that is in this column. So let me go ahead and do that. So on this column, I'm going to do equals to, 1.5 million, now multiply by this 100%. Now we're going to lock it. So on your keyboard or on your hard key, just press F4, and then you see this dollar sign, around J2. So we are locking cell J2, and now you can now press enter. You can see that we have the same value, but what we'll do at this point is to drag down, all across all other rates that is on this bill. So now if we do that, you'll now see that we have the same amount for each of the rates. So the same rate, the same rate, and the same rate. Okay, now for our working amount, we're also going to do the same. Just our rate at this point is going to be, this working rate now multiply by our quantity. That is now going to give us the amount. All right. Now we'll drag this down again, just the same way we did initially, and then we'll have, the same amount. If you check, you can see that they are all the same amount. Now, one other thing I want us to do is to take out all of these zeros. Always make sure that you delete all of these zeros, because in a way they're going to be affecting your calculation. So, and I'm sure you don't want that. So, please always do well to delete them. Okay. And lastly, this. All right. Now, for this our amount column, this that is the working amount column, what is our going to be our total? So if we do copy and paste of this formula, let's see how much we have here. So we have the same amount. So you see there's no changes or any other change that have occurred. It's the same amount that we have here right now. But we want to change this amount. This is not the amount that we need for our working rate and amount, right? So now we are going to be doing a goal seek analysis on this particular amount. So you are clicking on this cell, and then you go to data, and you come over to this place. You see what if analysis, slide down, and then we're setting this cell, which is cell 199, to a value of 29,297,42016. 0.16. Yes. By changing which cell, we are now going to be changing this particular cell. Now, by the time I click OK, you're not going to see, just within a blink of eye, you're going to see that the working rate, and click OK, the working rate and the working amount have changed. And now you can see that on this working amount that will have this particular value. Now, what it means is that this rate, this for this particular one, say for example, these item of work, this is the rate that's going to work instead of this, for us to be able to come to this amount of 29 million naira. So you see, this is how easy it is to be able to generate another rate from your original bill of quantity, to be able to do execution of project on site, and then be sure that you're working with the accurate rate for each item of work on a construction site. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more construction focused videos on Excel, Plan Swift, and project management software. Thank you.